before Thanksgiving. Super grateful that you're here with me on uh, our Wednesday live class. We are going to do the last of the Merry Makers card series. And I'm going to try to get my laptop to pull up so I can see us and make sure if anybody has questions. For those of you who got the kit, that is in the mail and it should be there. You should probably have it this weekend, I think, so that you can craft and get your cards out Thanksgiving weekend. It's always my goal. Definitely doesn't always happen, but it's definitely a goal. We are using this month the Joyful Tidings stamp set, which is probably not your first pick in the catalog, like you might have overlooked it. It's very pretty. It has these little partial wreath pieces. This one has like pine cones and the orange slices in it. The fonts are really cute. They're just very, very tiny and they're kind of faint. And so it's hard to make a full class. I don't know. It's hard to make full cards out of these. I will say it was a little challenging, but I really like the designs that I came up with. So hopefully you enjoy making them with me. So we're going to make 4 cards. This elegant pine snowflakes paper, which is 166066. And we're using the traditional sparkling sequins, which I hope are back in stock because they really add a lot to the cards. So we are going to make each of these, and I'm going to try to make them in the order that I did the packet. So you always get a half a pack of the designer series paper, and that is in there, as well as the full pack of those sparkling sequins. I do not have a full pack, but I have a partial pack. We'll use what we can. So, all right. So the first card we're going to make is this cool cutaway card. And I wanted to show you, hopefully I can. Let me see if I've got my catalog here. This is actually a case from the catalog. On the page with this stamp set, which is on page 58, there was this cool one with the blue background and the gold and the believe. And I was like, ooh, I really like that use of the wreath. And this one, we didn't even do this one, but you could make a full wreath out of the 2 components. So just know that. I thought this one was really pretty too, but we, color scheme, we went in a different direction because we're using the pine cone snowflakes. So in order to build this card, you need to take a piece of designer series paper and do a cutaway with a circle. We used the, I cannot remember anything today, but that's okay. We used those amazing circles. Someone will remember for me. But anyways, we use the circle dies. And so we cut away that piece here in order to fit the wreath piece down there. So you'll need one of those, and this, and of course the card base. This class actually has very few colors. It has shaded spruce and pretty peacock, and either real red or cherry cobbler, whichever red you like better. This is an interesting paper because all those colors are in the paper. So both real red and cherry cobbler are in the paper, which I thought was really interesting. And then we're gonna do heat embossing for the sentiment. All right, so let's get this out. All right, so we're gonna stamp in shaded spruce. And what I did was I took the piece and I kind of, put it on the card front where I thought it would be, because I'm gonna pop it up with dimensionals, but I wanted to have it right where I wanted it. Nice. Okay. So now we've got that, and then we're going to pop this panel up with some dimensionals. I have a bunch of, I've been using the little dimensionals, but we kind of want the bigger pieces. So we'll cut some side pieces here. All right. I like the edges. They work great. We're gonna want this to be fully supported along the edge, as well as the, the four corners and everything. So we'll put some dimensionals here. Probably another one there. And I'm probably gonna over dimensional this one only because it's a piece of DSP, so it needs a little bit more, support. We'll fold our card front. And then we're gonna get our pieces here. All right, so if you're watching live today, Stampin' Up! Still has their Black Friday sale going on. It went live yesterday. There was a flurry of activity on a few things. So a few things are sold out. When I looked this morning, the Stampin' Cut trimmer, oh shoot. Oh, okay. All right, I'm gonna go this way. The Stampin' Cut and trimmer was still available, the trimmer and embosser, which is good. And all the blend markers were available. So if you don't have blend markers or you're trying to look to finish out your collection, that's a great time because blends don't go on sale super often. All right, and then we're gonna stamp this little guy in Versamark. So Versamark's a great ink. You can get a tone-on-tone look, but for this one, we're gonna heat emboss with gold. And got my tray and my gold powder. I finally bought new gold powders. I'd had the same ones for like 12 years. And I finally had, needed new ones. So, I might have hit that with my finger. All right, well, that's a mess. All right, let's try again. And I definitely caught the edge with the edge of the stamp there. So I'm gonna try to clean that off. And then usually if I just kind of flick the back, then the excess will go away. We'll heat emboss that. Embossing powder is one of those things that can get old. And I had had mine literally for 12 years since I joined Stampin' Up. And I felt like it was looking kind of dull. And so I was excited to buy the new one, and I want to show you kind of the difference. So that's the old one, and that's the new one. And I think that's pretty significant of a difference. Like, I'm not holding it any different. It's kind of dull. So anyway, if you haven't bought a new one, you should. All right, so I'm just gonna cut that, trim that on the edge, and we're gonna get some more dimensionals. I'm gonna pop that up. And then we're just gonna put a couple of the cute Traditions sequins. For this one, I used the bright green because I thought it was fun. And so we'll get a big one. Whoa, holy moly, that one really shot across the room. All right, we're gonna do a bright one there, and we'll do a big and a little. Nice. All right, there we go. So there's our first card. Super simple, but really, really pretty, and hopefully, you know, gives you some ideas. If you have some wreath stamps, it doesn't have to be this wreath. You know, I think it's a nice look. So, okay. So now I'm gonna move all of that out of there. So we've got some room, and let's do card number 2. Oh yeah. Okay, great. So this one is the one that can be a gift card holder, and I want to show you just the difference. And in the directions, so if you subscribe, then you get our directions. If you want just the PDF of this, you can do that. It's $15 for the PDF. I offer that for all my classes. So if there's ever a class I do and you want the PDF from, even if it's an old class, please know I'm happy to send it to you because it has all the measurements. You know, we do full color directions. I mean, we try to lay everything out really, really cleanly. So this card has a shaded spruce background piece, and then there's a white piece for the inside, and then Spotlight on Nature. That's what those dies are called. I knew it would come to me. For the outside. And then this piece of DSP, we're gonna grab, I think I've got it here. And, oh, my trimmer. I had put my trimmer somewhere, but I'll grab my old one. It'll be fine. Okay, so for the gift card holder option, so it's going to be 4 inches wide, either way, 4 inches. And then we're going to score very lightly. Just be careful, okay? So we're going to score, because it's DSP, you can tear it. So we're going to move that cutting blade up, and we're going to score at 1.5 and 4 1/8 and 9 3/8. So 1, 2, 3, 8. Okay. So we've got that. And then I'll show you what you can do if you don't want it. So to have the gift card option, the gift card holder, just means that this piece is going to fold back. And then this piece is going to come in. This piece is going to come in. Right, we're going to meet in the middle. So having the gift card holder option just means you're going to punch here, and then you're going to have a little bit of glue on either side. So I will show you what that looks like. And it doesn't really matter what punch you use. I mean, anything that kind of gives you a little bit of a tab. Oh, that's not a great one to use. If you have a 1-inch circle punch, that's great. You know, 1.5, whatever. But you're just gonna make a little notch out of there. And then we're going to put a little adhesive at the top and the bottom, just to And I use tear and tape for this only because it's sturdy. I don't normally use tear and tape as an adhesive, you know, generally. But then let me show you this HEB gift card. But then you should be able to slide your gift card in. There. So now we have a cute little gift card holder. If you don't want a gift card holder, then all you do is just cut that piece off. So I show that here. So you can see, now I can cut the piece off and then I could always glue it back on later if I decided to make this a gift card holder. But this just easily shows you how it can be one or not. All right, so we're gonna glue this on the inside. Sometimes it's hard to kind of see where you're gluing when you have DSP, so I find it helpful to kind of raise up the sides to see the score line and how we want to center it. Okay. And then we're going to glue this panel onto the shaded spruce. So we've got that. Okay, then we have this nice large circle that's going to go on the front. We're going to just glue it to the front half, but before we do that, we're going to stamp it. So we're going to grab the other stamp, the kind of the larger one that has the pine cones on it, and the Tidings of Joy, which is a smaller one. This is one of the last red rubber stamps. Stampin' Up! Is transitioning to all photopolymer. And so if you like red rubber, this is definitely a good one to get. I'm just excited to have this one. All right, I know I have this other one on top. It's gonna drive you guys probably crazy, but I'll move it. All right, so we're just gonna stamp this. And then we can kind of decide, you know, how we want to rotate it. And then we're going to stamp our little sentiment. I'm going to do it in, I think I'm going to do cherry cobbler. I don't remember if I did cherry cobbler or real red. I feel like it was, I think I did real red. Yeah, cherry cobbler. That looks nice. Cherry cobbler is a little darker, and because this font is a little tiny, this is probably a good color to do it in. Okay, then we're going to glue this on here. I'm going to use dry glue to do that, and I want to make sure I get the orientation right. So I usually kind of put my hand over where I don't want to glue. And that usually helps me to not glue it down incorrectly. And then we're going to add some of these pretty gold sequins. So we'll do that and that. And I'm going to put one down here. More is more, right? Pretty. All right. So that's card number 2. Good job, everybody. All right. So card number 3. So like I said, this paper is interesting because it has several different colors of green and several different colors of red. So this is a real red card base. We're probably going to use cherry cobbler for the sentiment. We're going to use shaded spruce on old olive because there's old olive in here too, which is wild. So let's get our pieces out. And I need, there's a couple of pieces of paper in the stack that have that small, pretty sure I have some of this one, maybe. Nope, that's not it. Nope, that's not it. It's this one. So for this one, we have the Spotlight in Nature die piece, and then we have another one, and then a white card base, or a red card base, and a white insert. Just so we can have a place to, you know, write on. And then pretty standard cut of DSP. It's gonna be 4 by 5 1/4. So I will just cut this to 5 1/4 because I know I'm gonna use the other one. So with all of our Merry Makers classes, we always do 8 cards. So we do 2 each of 4 designs. This one was designed by me, but we partner with 3 other demonstrators, and we all do different stamp sets and different designs. And hopefully it gives you just some, you know, alternate ways of thinking. And, you know, each of us kind of has our own design style. And so we hope that you enjoy getting to experience a variety of design styles from all of us. So I liked the offset nature of this one. So for this one, I actually already stamped this. I don't know why, but I did. And I need to, these dies, they're great. They come out really easily, but I probably needed to brush them. All right. So we're gonna glue that on flat. But over here, so kind of towards the right. And then we're gonna stamp the longer sentiment, which is may the wonder and magic of Christmas fill you with delight. One of my personal goals is to try to use every single stamp. So when we use a stamp set, I try to use every single one. That's my goal. Nice. And then this one's going to be popped up with dimensionals. And we could use some edges for this, I think. And then we're going to use some of the red sequins. I don't have a ton left, and the ones I'm going to use might not be the right size for this one, but I prefer the small ones. All right, so I'm going to make this match up so that this edge is even with this edge. And then I'm going to I will put one large one there, and then I'm going to try to cover a few of the berries up there. So there we go. All right. Oh, and then our piece of white for the inside. Just so we have a place to write. And you can always put a piece of copy paper on the inside of your cards. Sometimes I put cardstock because I want to bulk it up a little bit. But like on one like this, you could definitely use just copy paper and cut it, and it would be fine. You know, if you're trying to do like the one with the DSP, I'm going to add cardstock there because it's going to be thicker and more substantial. All right, the 4th card is this one. We're going to use the Peace, Hope, and Joy and the Noel on this one so that we can use all the stamps in the set because, you know, I like to use them all. All right, so for this one, we have another Spotlight on Nature die, and we have a piece of cardstock for the base that's 5 1/2 by 5 1/2, and then you score it at 4 1/4. And that's going to give you this kind of fun little lip piece here. I'm going to try to get rid of all these little guys out of here. This one had a lot of little pieces. Oh, I just threw it in the trash. Okay, well, that's okay. All right. All right. So if you care about this, great. If you don't, also fine. But I did cut this piece so that it would highlight the snowflake, and I kind of centered it as best I could. Now that does mean that you will end up, if you go for the center, which is what I did on this one, you're going to end up with two smaller panels that have these snowflakes on it, which is fine. You could use this on a full panel piece, like the front could be a full panel, and you could do more. So just know that it's going to seem very wasteful, but I promise it's not, because you can still use the other panel pieces. So it's going to be 3 and 3.25 by 5.5. So I needed to go 5.5 this way. So I'm going to, so 5.5 would leave me 6.5, which would be 3.25. Okay, so I'm gonna try to cut 3.25 from each side. So I'm gonna cut 3.25 here, and I'm gonna cut, well, I'm gonna make sure that this is 5.5. And that should be 3.25 here. Yep, perfect. Okay, good. And then I'm gonna cut 3.25 here. Okay. So what we'll do is we'll glue this panel here, and it's gonna come right to the edge. So you could use a piece of tear and tape. You could use a piece of, you could use a thin line of glue. I have a little bit of this like skinny tear and tape that was probably left over from some sort of paper pumpkin, do I know what. And I'm gonna use this only because it is a tiny, tiny little lip, but a regular piece of tear and tape would work fine too. And then what I like to do is I'm gonna, whenever I do a card like this, I'm gonna line this edge up first, and then I'm gonna bring this paper to, ooh, that's very crooked. And it could be that I cut it crooked, which is possible, but let's see. I think I might have just had it. Yeah, okay. And if there's something like that going on where there's something weird or crooked and it stands out, you can always get your snips in there and just trim it off, and no one will ever know. All right, we're gonna stamp the inside panel with the little, with the kind of an off stamp of this. I already had this. I'm gonna see how this does. It was a while since we stamped it, but it's perfect because I don't want it to be too dark, so that's perfect. All right, and then we're gonna stamp the Noel on the inside of that. And the Peace, Hope, and Joy on the smaller piece. So let's see if we can get these guys up. All right, so Noel, and I'm gonna stamp it in Pretty Peacock because we're using Pretty Peacock for the card base and stuff here. Not that you can tell much, but all right. And then we're gonna stamp this. Peace, Hope, and Joy. Okay, so I hope that this card class has shown you that you can make a really big impact with stamps, ink, and paper. A little bit of bling doesn't hurt, but I wanted to show how some good design can really highlight a paper and can show you, you know, what's possible. I knew I loved the colors in this pine cone, this pine Christmas snowflake, whatever. But combining it with this was really fun. So, all right, so I'm gonna put that in the middle of the snowflake, and then we're gonna add some of the blue bling. Because why not? I think I did quite a bit on this one. I went crazy, y'all. Crazy. Plus I had some extra, so why not? Fun. Okay. So let's get all these cards out here and you can see everything we made. All right, so we've got hope and peace and joy. We've got the magic and wonder. We've got tidings of joy and believe. So I think these are fun. These are some fun cards. This is, hopefully you like this. I would love to get some feedback from you. So if you will tell me which of these cards is your favorite in the chat, that would be great. Let me know that you watched the replay or that you watched the live, and tell me if it was the believe, the peace, hope, basically the snowflake one, the wonder and magic, or the tidings. I would love to know which card's your favorite, and hopefully you'll make more of them. Thank you so much for joining. I hope that you have a wonderful Thanksgiving with family and friends and some yummy food, and be safe. And thank you so much for your continued support of my business. I really appreciate it. And in good times and bad, you guys are definitely there, and I appreciate it. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful week. Talk to you later. Bye.